Now to discuss more on the ongoing local government elections in Lagos State, we are joined by Public Policy Analyst Alesta Wilcox. Alesta, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, Alesta, tell us, how would you rate the conduct of the local government elections in Lagos so far?
Well, in terms of conduct, I will say that maybe the LISEC did a very wonderful job by putting in place all the necessary infrastructure and the necessary planning, and I think the planning was okay. The security was okay. The entire mobilization of election official and material was done timely in majority of the places. So the conduct of the election was quite apt. I mean, was quite good given to the LISEC. Now the problem is, how was the process itself? Did it meet the reality of the expectations of the LISEC? I think the answer is no, because those you interviewed said, the entire places are deserted. People were in their houses. Very, very few people came out to vote. I went around a bit. I went around my neighborhood. I went to other areas. I was taken by another channels, by another station, to do some coverage in their station and in other areas. I will move around, and we saw general voter apathy. So yes, good organization, but I think less than expected outcome. That's the way I'm going to characterize it.
All right, Alesta, but can you tell me if there are any known vulnerabilities in the electoral process at the local government level that could probably affect the outcome of this election?
Well, at the local government, persons do, you see, if we take our election trajectory into place, people pay more attention to the presidential election. And then because if you take our election, the way our election is being structured, you have the presidential election first. So people take far more attention in the presidential election. Everybody looks up to the presidential election. So after the presidential election, fewer people will not be enthusiastic about even the state governance election. Mm-hmm. Now, the local government is the third tier of government, and it's supposed to be the election that will be more competitive. But because of the kind of system we operate, the elections at local government has become a kind of ritual for the ruling parties in every state, and it's not only Lagos. In all the elections conducted by Lagos, discovered that the ruling party in Lagos almost cleared up all the seats. So, but in other states, the same thing. Every local government election in states, because it is conducted by the state government itself through their state independent electoral commission, it looks like it's a fait accompli for the parties in the state. It's always the party winning the entire seat, both as chairman and as councillors. So the credibility of that election has been impaired over time, and so that has made that people do not take any emphasis about it. Mobilization is very low. That's what I'm saying. The outcome mobilization is very low because it's only the ruling party in Lagos now, which is APC, that you see all over the place campaigning and trying to draw support.
Now, you mentioned Alesta, you mentioned the ruling party dominance. Now, I would like to ask, the ruling party in Lagos, of course, has maintained dominance at the local government level for decades now. How does this affect democratic vibrancy and accountability, especially when it comes to local governments?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because of the dominance of the ruling party, like I said, the local government election is almost like a fiat accounting for the ruling party. It's as good as that. The moment you get the ticket of the party, the report of the state, it is fiat accompli. So people do not take it as a serious election because the opposition is not putting up any serious fight. Of course, you don't expect politicians to go and waste their money, run campaign. You know how tedious campaigns are in our climate. You have to spend money on mobilizing people to the venue. You have to spend money on campaign materials. You have to spend money on mobilizing people. Buying votes, which is characterized all our elections. And then when you know that there is no chances of you winning that election, so it becomes that okay, they just do it for doing it. They just put our name on the ballot, and just answer that we conducted the election, not because they have any strong feeling that they're going to win. You know that in the national election, parties in every state, in most states, will also show they are showing, even if it's to win one seat there in the state assembly or even in the federal seat, they will put up some big assurance, big fights. But in the local government election, it is believed that the state conducts it, the ISEC, whatever the stake in the pocket of the state, of the governor and of the ruling party. Yeah. So you don't find any competition around that. So it's just like, okay, let's just fulfill our righteousness, let's vote, and then the vote is counted, and we've said we've done an election. There is no serious credibility about local government election anywhere in the country.
Alesta, now let's look at the issues now. You've spoken about the fact that people do not take this election seriously due to the dominance of the ruling party. We've also talked, or you have also talked about the low turnout of voters. Do you think perhaps if there was a larger turnout of voters, perhaps things could change? Because I'm saying this because we can take a good example from the last presidential election, whereby the ruling party, which was of course the APC, did not win in Lagos.
That's what I'm saying. You see, people pay more attention to the national. In fact, they pay more attention to the presidential election, not even to the state election. In the last election, see how people mobilized. You see how competitive that election was. People mobilized. The parties were all there in the street mobilizing. The people are mobilized. So they have a high expectation that, okay, their candidate will win the presidential election, come what may. And so everybody came out, and that you saw the outcome that Lagos became, for the first time, a ruling party, a dominant party, lost Lagos by a few thousand votes, some thousands of votes. That shows. But because in the state election, the general belief is, and which has played out over time across every part of the country, not just Lagos, across every part of the country, is that this election is local, conducted by the states, so therefore they already know who will win. So the other parties are not mobilizing. Of course, even build up the election, the other parties were accusing the LISEC chairman of high-handedness, of manipulation. I was in a program where some people from Labour Party, people from other parties came to complain that the LISEC chairwoman was high-handed, was creating problems for other parties, refusing. A lot of allegations against them. So when you see such build-up, you're not expecting politicians to go and throw their money, to go and spend when they know they clearly the odds against them, because it's the state election, it's a localized election. But you see, it did not be so, because like I always say, the local government has lost its relevance. It's supposed to be the bedrock of our democracy. It's supposed to be the foundation of our democracy. It's supposed to be where people should be more interested, because local government is what touches you directly. We have unfortunately turned the heads of Nigerians to the fact that their problem starts and ends in the presidency, which is a false narrative. First, you start for local government. The things you need, the basic things you need for you to have sanitation, for you to have primary school, primary healthcare center, for you to have all those basic things. Your road paved, your trunk C road paved, have potable water in your community. It is local government. So, but unfortunately, the way we have run our democracy, the way we have done our country, the state have subsumed the authority of local government, and so nobody is able to put a dichotomy as to what it really is the local government's function. What am I going to hold the chairman or the councillor responsible? Nothing. Nobody looks at them. It's just that during the election, they will give them money, they will share rice, they will share materials, and then they believe that they've gone there to just eat. And if you again look at the quality of persons that are governing our local government, look at the quality of persons. By the constitution, the age is 25, and then qualification is just primary school certificate. For you to go and make law that will govern primary health care, laws that will govern primary schools, laws that will govern sanitation, laws that will govern parks and gardens. These are the things of local government. So when you create a kind of system whereby the persons that should be responsible for those services are just people that should have mere primary school certificate, not even good secondary school or ability to read and write. How do you expect something meaningful to come out of that kind of a system? when in a situation that has, in a system that, in a site that has learned men, senior men that reside in those local governments. So I think it's time that we tweak our local government administration to make it more relevant, to make it more appealing and more relevant to the daily needs of the people, and stop the people from looking at Abuja as a source of their beginning and the end of their problems. If you hold their local government chairman responsible, then certain things will have changed. And then so in elections, parties will not be interested because they know that there's accountability, and parties will not be interested in putting up their weight and in contesting and being able to hold, okay, we have something to do in one local government, we run it well, we run differently, and then by next election, they will be able to win other local governments. But in this case, it's like a system that's in the pocket of the governor or the governors of the state. I mean,
I must express my gratitude to you, Alesta Wilcox, for being a guest tonight. Thank you so much for having this conversation with us, and we hope you join us again some other time.